To begin with, we'll go to the GitHub website that contains your repository that was given to you by your instructor. On this website, you will click the green Code button, which will display a drop-down. In the drop-down list from that Code button, you will be presented several options. One of them is Open with Visual Studio. This is the one you'll select. Depending on your system and settings, it may prompt you to allow the Visual Studio application. If it does, accept that and allow the Visual Studio application. Once you have clicked that button, you should see Visual Studio start to launch. You'll see the Visual Studio logo appear on your screen. It may take a few minutes for Visual Studio to actually start up. Please be patient. Once Visual Studio starts up, you will receive the Clone a Repository screen. At the top, it will show the repository location that you are cloning from. This is the location that was provided by your instructor for your GitHub repository that you were assigned for the course. The next is the path. This is the local storage location on your computer where you're going to store your local copy of this repository and the associated Git. So if this is your opportunity to change it to a different location if you want to, or just accept the default. If everything is correct, click the Clone button. Once you click the Clone button, you'll receive a pop-up that says Clone Repository, and the message will say Cloning and the name of the repository. You have two button options, Continue and Background, to click and Cancel. Do not click either of these. Let it run until it finishes. Once the cloning process has completed, Visual Studio will open up and you should see a Solution Explorer window on the right-hand side. If you do not see Solution Explorer, you can go up to the top View menu and select Solution Explorer. In the Solution Explorer window, you should see your project. If you expand the node, which is by clicking the little arrow pointing to the right, you should see your project code. What displays in your Explorer solution window for your project may vary depending on the project type and assignment you are doing. Let's explore the different places you can access Git and GitHub information for your repository within Visual Studio. To begin with, we're going to look at the Git Changes tab. If you do not see the Git Changes tab in your current screen, click on the View menu, go down and select Git Changes. It should look something like this. Another location where we can access the Git and GitHub capabilities within Visual Studio is on the Git menu in the top left side of your menu, labeled Git. Another area to work with Git and GitHub is in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. You'll see an area with two arrows, one pointing up, one pointing down with two numbers beside them. This shows you information going up and information coming down, or changes going up and coming down from GitHub. Next to it, you will see a pencil icon which shows you uncommitted local changes to your local Git repository. Next to that, you'll see a symbol with three dots and a name. The name is the main branch at the current time. This is where you would select or change the branch you are working with. Beside that, you will find the name of the repository you are currently working with. In this example, we'll open up a code window or form to show something that we are currently working with, just so you'll have some context. Now we'll use the Git Changes tab, and we will go up to the top, and where it says Main, we will drop down the arrow, and you will see under Local, the current local branch is main. We're going to create a new branch at this point by clicking the New Branch button. You will be presented with a Create a New Branch screen, which gives you the option to enter the name of the new branch based on the requirements as set forth in the course. It'll also show what branch that new branch will be based on, in this case main, and it will have an option to check out that branch after it's created. So make sure the checkout branch is checked. In this example, we'll create a new branch called logon-view based on the main branch. We will do this by entering the word logon-view in the branch name. You will notice now that in the bottom right corner of the screen it shows now that we are using the logon view branch. Also in the top right corner under Get Changes, it additionally shows that we are currently using the logon view branch. Now on the Get Changes tab up in the top right corner, if we click the down arrow beside the current branch, we'll see that under Locals we have now two branches, Main and Logon View. But if we click on the Remotes tab of that area, we notice the Remotes currently only has the original Main. This is because we haven't yet synced with the GitHub repository. Now, to show what some code changes would look like and how you interact with Git and GitHub, let's change a property on this form. So on this form, we're going to change the text or title of the form to Flippin's Flower Shop. You will notice on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, in the little status area, the up and down arrows still show 0, the little pencil which shows 0, and it shows we are currently working on the logon view branch in our repository. All of these zeros means that we don't currently have any changes to commit to the local Git repository, and we don't have anything to push up to GitHub just yet, but we're going to change that now. We're going to right click on the form, select Properties, and we're going to go down to the text property and change it to Flippin's Flower Shop. You will notice when we make these changes that the number beside the little pencil on the lower right corner of the toolbar of the screen shows a number has changed. This means we have uncommitted changes to the local Git repository. To commit these changes, we're going to go to the Get Changes tab. In the top of the screen, we're going to ensure we're still working with the logon view. We're going to enter into the message area just below that, where it says enter a message. We're going to type in change the form text /title, and then we're going to commit to our local Git all of the changes we have just made. When we do, we should see the number go from the previous number before the change to 0 because we have committed those local changes. When you click the commit button, if you haven't already saved your work, you will be prompted for the choice of whether you want to save and commit or don't save and commit or cancel. You always want to click Save and Commit. That will save your work and then commit the changes. Once you have successfully saved and committed the work, you will notice the number beside the little pencil on the bottom right-hand corner of your toolbar showing the pending commits will have gone back to 0. But now the number beside the up and down arrow will show one commit that has not been pushed to GitHub now. So you have one pending push to GitHub. Now we can enter a comment into the comment area for our sync to GitHub. Keep in mind a sync may contain multiple commits, so make sure your comment for the sync describes the overall sync. Or push. We're going to use the icons just to the right of the branch name in the Get Changes tab. The one that points as an arrow pointing up with a little line underneath it. Or if available to us, we can use the sync option, which is the two arrows chasing each other in a circle. That does both a push and a pull. When complete, in the same area at the top, you will see a message that says it was successfully pushed. Now that we have successfully committed and successfully pushed or synced to GitHub, you'll notice on the bottom right little status bar line or toolbar line, all the numbers show 0. 0 for the pushes and pulls, 0 for the local commits. To double check our work, we can now go back out to the GitHub website for our assigned repository for the course, and we should see that At the top, it has a message showing that we have had a recent push. You can select the drop-down for the branches on the GitHub Repository website and now see that we also have a logon view branch. If we select that logon view branch from the GitHub Repository website, we'll see a list of all the files in that branch and any changes. This has been just a brief demonstration of using GitHub with Visual Studio